Mega Man 1 is a prime example of what I like to call first game syndrome. Here, we have a pretty solid idea, but the execution isn't perfect and there are many kinks to be ironed out. The sequels also make many improvements, so there's not much reason to play this one. Don't get me wrong, Mega Man 1 is a good game, but when you have 11 sequels that all make massive improvements on this game, why come back to this one? Before I get started, if I could direct your attention to this graph that shows how many of my viewers are subscribed, you'll notice that it looks a little one-sided. So if you could scroll down and subscribe, that'd be great. Subscribing helps my videos get out there to more people, and it motivates me to create more videos. Our story starts in the year 20XX with two roboticists, Thomas Light and Albert Wily. While Wily wanted to go in the direction of robots being fast and strong while still serving humans, Light wanted to create robots that were free thinkers who still helped humans. The Robotics Institute of Technology decided to fund Light's idea, and the friendship between the two scientists ended. Fast forward roughly 40 years into the future, and Light has created 6 robots: Cutman, Gutsman, Iceman, Bombman, Fireman, and Leckman. These 6 robots, or Robot Masters as they are called, are designed to help humans. Cutman is for deforestation, Bombman is for demolition, Fireman is for incendiary work, etc. Light also created 2 additional robots, Rock and Roll. Rock is designed to help Light around the lab, while Roll is designed for housekeeping chores. While he's become jealous of the praise Light has been given for his robots, so he sabotages them, causing them to go rogue and cause massive amounts of damage. In response, Rock volunteers to become the ultimate peacekeeping robot, Mega Man. Now we have to play as Mega Man to take down the Robot Masters and defeat Dr. Wily. With the story out of the way, why not get into the sprite work? For an NES game released in 1987, I'd say this game looks good. While the art is certainly simple, it gets the job done. We see lots of repeated tiles, solid color backgrounds, and simple enemy designs. The Robot Masters also have pretty simple designs. Cutman, for example, is just a guy with scissors on his head. Iceman is just a guy, but he's got a jacket on. But while simple, this is certainly not bad, and this is as good as a game like this needs to be. To get to the gameplay, Mega Man is a run-and-gun platformer. It takes platforming elements and mixes them with shooting a gun. The gameplay loop is that your shots only go forward, so you've got to line up yourself with the enemy you want to hit. Sounds simple, I know, but that's the basic gameplay. There are 2 things that make Mega Man unique, at least compared to other platformers of the time. The first would be that there isn't a set stage order. You see, you can pick which Robot Master you'd like to tackle first, whether that be Gutsman, or Cutman, or Leckman, or whoever. To my understanding, this was kind of a big deal, because when you look at Super Mario, you were on a set stage order. It wasn't until Mario 3, a year after Mega Man, which allowed you to pick stages, and even then the choice was minimal. You could skip a stage or 2 or just play all the stages. Mega Man was different, as you could pick any stage in any order, and there weren't many drawbacks to this. The second special thing about Mega Man is the special weapons. You see, after defeating a boss, you get their weapon. For example, after defeating Cutman, you get Rolling Cutter, a boomerang scissor, just like what Cutman used. To be honest though, these weapons are pretty situational and aren't that useful in most combat settings. The obvious example is Super Arm, which allows you to pick up specific blocks and throw them. However, these blocks aren't even in most stages and they are spread pretty thin. Another example is Rolling Cutter. Sure, it may be useful if you want to hit something in an arc, but how often is that? It's mainly used to get rid of the Gabioles, most seen in a Leckman's power plant. The Hyper Bomb gets thrown in an arc, bounces once, and then takes around 3 seconds to explode, and then the blast radius is kinda small. This isn't very useful because you need to get the trajectory right, wait around for the bomb to explode, and then hope the bomb is close enough to the enemy to hit them. This weapon is also useless against aerial enemies or mobile enemies. The bomb has to hit the ground before exploding, and it doesn't move once it hits the ground. Ice Slash is somewhat useful, as it doesn't do much damage, but it freezes enemies in place. There's also Firestorm, our first actually useful weapon. You get a shield of fire around you, and you also shoot out a ball of fire. Thunder Beam, however, is easily the best weapon, and once you get it, there's no reason to not use it. It deals a lot of damage, its ammo consumption is pretty efficient, and it fires in 3 directions: above, forward, and below. Oh, and speaking of ammo consumption, ammunition. Mega Man standard shots don't have any cost, but as for the special weapons, they have limited uses. Thankfully, the ammunition can be refilled with these weapon capsules. However, they only refill the ammunition of a singular special weapon. Now, while these weapons don't have many practical applications, most don't use them because they're good in regular combat. Most use these weapons against bosses. You see, each Robot Master is weak to a special weapon, and their weapon is a weakness of another Robot Master, so on and so forth. This creates a rock paper scissors style of play, so there's no real place to begin, as you'll never have a boss's weakness in your first stage. However, this idea of each stage being equally viable falls flat on its face when you actually get to the boss. You see, while the stages before a boss may be equally difficult between the stages, the bosses are not. Take Gutsman for example. If you fight him with the Mega Buster, which is what Mega Man's arm cannon is called by the way, you're gonna have a pretty tough time. Your Buster shots don't deal that much damage compared to the massive freaking boulders that Gutsman is hurling at you. Meanwhile, you have to keep jumping to avoid being immobilized, because if you're on the ground when Gutsman hits the floor after jumping, you can't move. Meanwhile, if you have his weakness, Hyper Bomb, this fight becomes a lot easier. While you may still be taking the same amount of damage, your damage output matches up with his, so you can finally kill him without it being a pain in the butt. Compare this to Cutman. While taking him on Buster only is a challenge, it isn't one that's somewhat unfair. You just gotta be good at jumping and avoiding him and his scissors. Now, while some weaknesses make a boss actually fightable, some go too far and trivialize the entire fight. Take Iceman for example. Look what happens when I use his weakness, Thunder Beam, against him. Now look at him when I go in, Buster only. Yeah, I used the rewind feature and still died, but you notice how this fight was, an actual fight this time? I've talked about the special weapons and bosses, but how about the actual level design? Well, overall, I'd say it's good. You're nearly always on the move, and there aren't many horrible enemy placements. Although I really hate the placement of the big guys. They're massive enemies you can't go across, and you need to wait for them to jump to go under them. Besides that, there are gimmicks for each stage. The power plant mainly has these electric blocks that you've gotta wait for, else you'll take damage and fall. In the construction zone, there are platforms that move across belts, but they flip off over certain sections, so you've gotta jump over the sections where they flip off. The Arctic has the vanish blocks, which appear for a few seconds, then disappear. These blocks form a path you've gotta jump across, but you've gotta do it quickly, else you'll fall when the block vanishes. Some people really hate the vanish blocks, and in future games I can see it somewhat. But in the Arctic, I think the vanish blocks are just fine. There aren't too many of them, so there isn't much to memorize, and if you fall, you aren't penalized too much. At best, you start over, and at worst, you might take a bit of damage. But after you defeat the 6 Robot Masters, you have the 4 castle stages and... Oh my god, what is that sound? Yeah, unfortunately, this is something all 6 NES Mega Man games do. Wily's appearance is always signified by this horrible sound. I don't know who decided to use this, not just once, but 6 times, but it's what we've got. Something I really like about these capsule stages is that they take advantage of the special weapons. In the main stages, the level designers can't really do that, because for all they know, this is your first stage. Meanwhile, you don't have any special weapons. For the capsule stages, meanwhile, they know for a fact you'll have all 6 special weapons, so they can design levels around them. Unfortunately, I have to detract my praise of the special weapon utilization, because in this game, there isn't much to design these weapons around, as they don't have many good platforming capabilities. Ice Slasher is pretty good for freezing these fire pillars so you can stand on them, and Super Arm is pretty much only used to get rid of blocks in your way. But other than that, no other special weapon gets any use. Well, besides the one non-boss weapon that I've yet to mention, the Magnet Beam. You get this weapon in the power plant, and it creates platforms for Mega Man to stand on. These platforms disappear after a few seconds though, so you've got to move quick. Anyway, this is the weapon that got a lot of use from me throughout these castle stages. The boss of the first castle stage is the infamous Yellow Devil. When moving between places, he deforms into tiny yellow blocks that you've got to avoid, else you take damage. He also doesn't take that much damage from his weakness, Thunder Beam, so this is where Mega Man 1's pause glitch gets the most use. You see, you can also hit the select button on the NES controller to pause the game, but this pause doesn't freeze the boss's invincibility frames, so you can hit an enemy, pause the game, unpause, the enemy takes damage, and repeat until the enemy dies. In the second castle stage, you get rematches against Cutman and Elecman. These fights go the same as they did when we first fought them. Then the boss of this stage is Copy Robot, a hologram projection of Mega Man. A fun fact I've heard about Copy Robot is that he shares Elecman's AI, so that's neat. Copy Robot will copy the weapon you're using and will continue to jump and fire. His AI is pretty predictable as you can just keep on jumping and firing, and he'll be able to do nothing. The third castle stage is pretty short, but there's a neat section where a bunch of water keeps pushing you forward. The boss of this stage is CWU-01P, and there are 7 of them. They circle the edge of the arena and fire at you. Getting rid of them is pretty easy. Hit the first 3 in the face with the Mega Buster, then defeat the final ball with the boulders at the center of the stage. The final castle stage contains a boss rush, which will be a staple of the series. You fight the other 4 Robot Masters, Bombman, Fireman, Iceman, and Gutsman, and then it's final boss time. Dr. Wily has 2 phases. Both are very easy if you use his weakness. In the first phase, you hit a little red ball with Firestorm, and in the second phase, you dodge his energy balls and hit him with Thunder Beam. Once you drain his health bar, the game ends. The credits begin to roll as Mega Man walks back home, with some simple text that somehow just always gets me pumped. Mega Man has ended the evil domination of Dr. Wily and restored the world to peace. However, the never-ending battle continues until all destructive forces are defeated. Fight, Mega Man, for everlasting peace. And with that, Mega Man 1 ends. Overall, Mega Man 1 is a good game, with many kinks to be ironed out. And not all the bosses are a fair challenge without their weaknesses, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, some bosses can hardly be called that when you have their weakness. And nearly all the special weapons are useless other than boss weaknesses and hyper-specific situations. As I said at the beginning of the video, this game is the epitome of first game syndrome. We've got a good idea here, but there are many things that stop this game from being as great as it could be. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment telling me what you thought about this game, maybe another game I could cover, or what I could do better in a future video.